AI is terrible at design, but that's not AI's fault. It's yours. To make beautiful websites in Cursor or Claude Code, you need to learn a few little tricks. In this video, we will take inspiration from a beautiful website. I will break the design down into components and then simply talk to Claude Code to recreate this design from scratch. By the end of this video, you will be able to take any website you like as inspiration and make it yours using AI. Let's jump in.
Clap, 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 we're done just right. 5-day sprint took us to new heights. Make it, build it, your dreams ignite. We're making moves at turbo pace.
So, by no means am I saying to copy other people's design and use it for yourself. That's very, very important at the very start. What I like to do is use designs that I like as inspiration for my own projects. So you can kind of take elements, components, but more so what I want you to get from this video is understanding how websites are actually structured and how to actually talk to an AI to actually get a specific result. What this will do is it will enable you to kind of practice what it's like to actually create different components and designs. It will allow you to also build up a bit of a visual palette so that when you work on your own project, you'll be able to draw from all these type of skills that you built up over time. So that's the most important thing that I want you to take away from this. So saying that, let's jump right in. So here we are. This is a site that I like the look of. It's called merlin.computer. So I'll tell you what I like about it. So let me just refresh this. You can see right here, we have this beautiful sort of animation that happens in a hero section. And then as you scroll down, they have this lovely sort of menu that comes up. Just have a look at the bottom again. See that menu that just sort of comes up? And then you have this sort of like, image display here. As you go down, there are some more interesting sort of elements that come up. This sort of chat interface, different cards, pricing, etc. I actually really like this bit down here as well that opens up from this sort of blue component. Really nice. So websites like this are just beautiful, like really nicely made, but also, not too overcomplicated. It's sort of taking simplicity, but just adding some elements of flair to it, which I really like. So I haven't played around building this specific landing page out at all yet. I'm just going to take maybe 2 components of this, just not to make this too long of a video and to just show you the key areas that we want here. You can also see this nice sort of blur fade in situation going on here too. So first of all, let me bring you over here and explain to you kind of what we're looking at in terms of the actual site and its components. So we see over here, we have the actual landing page itself, and then it's built up over different components that make up the page. And it's important to understand these components because, as I've explained in many videos before and throughout my sort of process, it's really important to break tasks down into elements and components. And that's a key part of systems thinking, is being able to break things down to sort of their core elements and then build up from there using AI. And that allows you to be very focused on specific things you're working on. And it also stops the AI from almost, overdoing it, hallucinating, doing way more than it needs to. And that's very important. You want to be the master of the project and to have control over it. And to do that, you have to understand the components. So first of all, here we have an announcement at the top. We have a background here, which kind of got this blurred, multicolored situation going on, which is quite nice. We have the hero. So we call this entire section really the hero, but the hero text is this. Then we have the subtitle below it. We have the CTA, which stands for call to action. And then we have social proof here, just some logos that they like. And then in the second section, when we go down, we've got some content up top here, just some text. And again, just learning how to do text like this will just add fire to your, projects just immediately. Just even if you don't even, use design like this, but you just take this text element, you get that sort of Apple-esque look. That's sitting inside a card. So we call this a card. And then we have an image inside that, which will break down. And then we've got a navigation at the bottom. And so that's what we call the UI. Okay. And on top of that, we have all these cool sort of animations going on, which are the UX, user experience. So we have user interface, and then we have the user experience. Now, as we go, we'll be building up both of them. Sometimes I do the UI first, then do UX. Sometimes I do it as I go. It just sort of depends how I'm flowing. But I'm just going to show you my natural process because you're going to see me thinking and figuring this out in real time. I haven't built this out before, so I'm just going to be starting with a blank canvas. Now, to start with the canvas, what I've done is I've gone to 5daysprint.com, the link which is down in the description. And all you have to do is click Start Building. You can jump on, get access to 5-Day Sprint, and then you'll be able to click on New Project. When you click on New Project, you can scaffold your project. So basically, put in an idea for your project. You can even just say this is a test project if you just want to play around with something. And it'll guide you through the process of setting up on Cursor, how to install GitHub, how to install Claude Code, how to actually get your database configured, which we have here. So I've set up a little database for myself where we'll be storing images and any type of data that we want to render onto the site. Won't be going too much into we won't be going too much into the details of the database, but we will, just store some assets in there. So you can see a little bit of how that works. And then once you've done that, you end up getting a command that looks a bit like this, a 5-day sprint framework command. And the reason this is so cool is because all you got to do is hit copy here, and then you go into cursor and you just paste that command. So I pasted that command in my project. It's then set up a scaffold for me. So these are the project files are set up. And the reason this is important is when you're starting any new project, whether you're a designer and you've never used Cursor or Claude Code before, or even if you're a developer, you know the headache it takes to pick the right libraries, which UI libraries you're using, which JavaScript frameworks, all that type of stuff. And the 5-day sprint has kind of figured it all out. So within about 3 minutes, it will set up a page for you that looks a bit like this. So we'll say the 5-day sprint framework is installed, which is beautiful. You don't have to do anything else. You're ready to go. You can click on View Component Showcase. You can see that we already have some nice, clean sort of components built in. So, you know, just some nice, just styles, some easy going, kind of stripe looking elements. And if you want to go into a bit more detail, you can click on View All Components, view all the kind of components that are in the library, etc., and you know, build out from there. So if you went into Claude Code and you said, build me a page with a button, at least by default, the button would look clean and not look like that kind of Internet Explorer type of interface. So that is all built into the 5-day sprint. And that's why we've set this up, so that you have a kind of a jump start in setting up your project, and then you can get straight into the fun stuff. So here we have this. Now, what I'm going to do is, first of all, I want to just break this down a little bit. I want to understand what's actually going on. So I'm actually using ChatGPT Atlas. And the reason I like this is because I can ask ChatGPT questions about this page. So I can say here, I don't want to select the text. I'm actually going to say, tell me what font styles, etc., the hero text has. And just a small example of how you can leverage using ChatGPT Atlas to understand the components that are in a specific page and then actually render them into your project. So I'm just going to copy this. I didn't understand what I was speaking about. Oh, sorry. Is it there? Attached tab. There you go. My mistake. Okay, so now it knows the context of the page. Cool. So it's telling me here the font family is Neuhas, I think that's how I pronounce it. Grotesque Display Pro from Adobe Fonts. So we could just sort of copy this, go here, and then it should come up Adobe Fonts over here. And it shows us the font they're using, which is this one, which is nice. So we'll see if we can install this in a little while. I haven't worked with Adobe Fonts in a while. I normally use Google Fonts. I think the closest Google font to this will probably be Poppins. Well, we could ask Atlas that as well. And it gives us the information for the typography. So the line height, the font size, letter spacing. So you can kind of use Atlas as sort of like a guide to help you figure out how components should be styled if you're trying to emulate a certain visual. And it tells us about the colors, the effect it has, animation. Let's even ask it, what animation is going on when the page loads. I noticed some kind of text fade in and a gradient that moves across the bottom line, AI chief of staff. So what I'm doing right now is I'm just sort of trying to get a little bit of context and just get my mind around how this thing is structured. So let's see what's going on. Animation, each text element fades in with slightly upward translate Y motion. The opacity transforms. Likely CSS GSAP implementation. They probably use GSAP or Framer motion. Animated gradient sweep. So it's using linear gradient, likely using background position. Okay, so cool. Well, let's see what we do. So let me just close this for a minute. The first thing I'm going to do is I just want to actually check how this background is set up. So it seems like an image up top. So I'm just pressing Command A there to select all. And what select all does sometimes for me, it just highlights the elements of the page, which is interesting to be able to see the structure. So you can see here that this is probably a white page. Since it's not highlighting the background, it's highlighting something up here. So it's probably an image up here that's full width. So let's inspect this a bit closer. You click Inspect, right click, Inspect, and now you can start to actually see the different elements. Okay, so let's say we look up top here. We can see, there you go, the home gradient up here is actually an image. So you see this here? So for the sake of this, I'm actually going to just use their image, open a new tab. You can see that's the gradient they're using, okay? And if you want to create something like this, you could go into Figma or whatever, or use an AI tool to create a gradient that's just going out to transparent, save it as a PNG, and then upload it. It's quite a heavy image, interestingly. So what we're going to do is we're going to save this image. I'm going to create a folder in just a bin folder here. I'm going to call it, Merlin design test. I'm just going to call it top gradient. Okay. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go into Superbase. I'm going to go to storage. I'm just going to create a bucket. So buckets are basically places where you can just store assets and then render them onto your site. So you can have public buckets, which allow the assets to be visible by everyone, which we do want since it's a public viewable site landing page. If you have private assets, like things inside a dashboard or things that need to be behind a curtain, you'd keep it private. So I'm going to keep public here. I'm just going to say we're going to call it just assets for the sake. Okay, we create the bucket. Let's open up the assets bucket. And now inside here, I will go to my bin folder and just drag the gradient in. So now this is hosted on my database. It's inside my Superbase project. And so this means that I can give Superbase, so it's cursor or Claude Code, this URL right here, if I could get URL. And now the image is on my own URL, right? So this one that we saw originally is on their URL. They're using Amazon to store their images. But we have it here now. So it just means that we just kind of store that asset within our own interface. Again, this is just for the sake of this demo. I'm not, condoning going and ripping other people's assets, but it would just take too long for me to kind of create my own right now. So I want to show you more about just how this works. Okay, so we've got the gradient there, and on top of the gradient, we have some sort of situations going on here. That looks like interfont there as well. Again, there are plugins you can use to understand fonts as well. Sometimes I just like to click inspect. As you view it like that. Seems like an inter font. Let's see, inter, which is a good just sort of default font to use. And I think we have inter already baked into the 5-day sprint as well. So I think all these fonts are actually inter by default, which is great. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to go into cursor. We're going to go. So it's a brand new project, fresh install with a 5-day sprint. All I've done is run that command inside Claude, inside cursor. I'm going to new terminal. I'm going to open up Claude. Okay, and I'm going to say I want you to set up a new page route for me at /Merlin. Now, I'm just doing that so I can create basically a URL on my site. So /Merlin here, like this is /dashboard, /Merlin, which right now won't go to anything, but I want a page there. Again, you can route it to wherever you like inside of your project. Merlin, just make this a blank page for now. Okay, so we'll just do first step, which is we just want to set a page up. So again, this is very important because sometimes you can fall into a trap of saying, set up a page, add this hero section, add this image, whatever else, which is all well and good. But we just want to be very refined here and just do one step at a time, and especially for the sake of this demo. And if you guys get more and more comfortable on your own, you can then go out and, play around and give it more, prompts if you need. So there, we've got a blank page here now at /Merlin. Excellent. I'm going to say delete the Merlin text. It should be a blank page. Now, the key here to speak to AI is just to understand the different components. So as I explained to you earlier on, when we looked at ChatGPT, it references things like, font weight, font size, line height. So these are terminologies that as you start building, you start getting more and more comfortable with. So line height will be the space between each line, obviously, the same way we do it in sort of a Word document, right? So it's not too different to things that we'd already be used to, but just these type of things, words like padding, margin, spacer, etc., you get more and more comfortable with. And this is a good way of almost like learning in real time, using Atlas to be able to actually kind of guide you on the different components that are on the side, and then figuring out how to actually translate that over to Claude Code. So there we go. We're going to have our blank page now. Great. So now let's start. So we're going to say at the top of the page, I want you to place a full width image using this URL. So I'm going to take my URL now. I'm just going to paste that. Hit that. And the good thing about when Claude Code is working and you're working on localhost, you will just see designs happening in real time. You'll just see in a minute, it will just appear, which would be really cool. So let's wait for that to render. Okay, let's see what's going on. It's having a little bit of an error. This is totally fine. This is a beautiful thing about working like this is you guys are going to see the inner workings of what it looks like to set things up. And it's very natural to have errors as you go sometimes with Claude Code. So it thinks it's completed. But what we're going to do is very simple. I'm just going to copy this error here. I'm just going to paste it there, and it'll figure it out. It'll understand what it's done, and it will. He's configured the Superbase domain. Okay, fine. To allow images from that source. Fine. Okay. Even though it should be a public bucket, it is a public bucket, so it shouldn't need to configure that, but maybe it does. Let's see. Maybe it's extra security for us. So we'll let it do that. and then we should have the page reload with our image on it. Okay, there we go. We've got our gradient now, which is looking very similar to what they have here. It seems like they maybe just fade it out a little bit or push it up. So it seems like they actually push it up a little bit, don't they, on this? So we're going to try and get as close as possible to it. So let's just move our one right next to it. So kind of where the purple and the red is. So kind of maybe right here. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to say, move the image up a touch. Just something like that. So again, don't need to overthink it. You can just speak to AI in a very normal way and you will figure out how to translate that. You don't have to say, add minus top margin by, 5 pixels or whatever. It will just go ahead and then there you go. It's moved it up a touch. I'm going to say, move it up more. Okay. Because you do want to emulate this. So we need the blue needs to kind of be in this area here. Great. That's better. I'm going to say more. Such quite a nice gradient, isn't it? Love that. See, just the subtle touches like that with the gradients can make such a big difference. So that's pretty spot on now. Look, that looks pretty identical, doesn't it? As I'm going through the tabs. Brilliant. All right, happy with that. So that's done now. Okay, now what we're going to want is I'm going to say, are these dots changing? They are. Okay. Now, add some text that says, I'm going to say, tell me the styling of the top announcement text, e.g. Let's see what it comes back with, just so we can get some font sizes from it. Let's see, container, it's fixed absolutely, position on top, core element, padding. You don't worry about too much. What I want actually is a font family, fallback, font weight. All right, so cool. So we're just gonna do this. We're gonna say font weight, font size, letter spacing, like that. Styling equals, I'm just going to literally copy. I haven't done this before using Atlas, by the way, so I'm actually quite intrigued to see how it looks. Myself, I'm going to copy the line height and the color and the text align. Let's just see what it does. Let's just hit that. Let's see what happens on our page now. See if we can get the text looking exactly the same just off that one, just copy and paste off Atlas. So if you see here as well, I wasn't asking it to add that circle. So we have this sort of like small dot. I'm not asking it to do that. I'm going to do that after. I'm just telling it to just place a text there. I'm just getting my components in place, and then we'll add more and more elements of finesse to it as we go. So it's saying it's added here, but I don't see it. I don't see it. Perhaps the image is overlapping. So let's see, maybe the image is overlapping it, and it would need to adjust the position to position absolute, which basically means that it's like, absolute on the page, and then it can allow itself to basically layer up an element on top of it. So I could put the text on top of it using something called Z index. And so there we go, we see it right there. Okay, so now what it's done is actually made this section black. So I don't want the background to be black. Keep it transparent. Okay, so the font wasn't exactly how it is here, so I'm actually going to eyeball it. I prefer to design by eyeballing anyway, so I'm just going to keep to my natural sort of process. So, okay, cool. So what I will do is I will inspect this for the font color. So make font color this. I'll just say make font styling this. So I basically just copied the styling from the page, which is the element style over here under the inspect tab. And now see if we can just do that exact thing. And that should be a bit close to what we're looking for. Okay, that's better. So we just want to make the font smaller. So I'm going to say make font half the size. That's a bit better. I'll say a tiny bit bigger. Spacing is about right, which is good. Okay, cool. Okay, that feels about right. Make it less bold. So let's kill the bold a bit. So I'm just going a little bit in detail here, just I'm trying to emulate as close as possible. And show you guys just ways of talking to the AI as well. So let's just take that down a touch. Let's bold it. Let's see. Yeah. Okay, fine. Cool. It could probably be even less bold than that, but let's just roll with that for now. Okay. Now let's have a look at how this works. Okay. Uh, to the left of the text, add a div. So now anytime I say a div is basically just like basically saying add a thing. It could be anything. So a div is basically just a blank block with no styling, no anything. And then you can basically add styles on top of it, which it will assign a class to. So you'd have like a div class equals, I don't know, announcement circle, if you're doing the circle. And then it will style it. Because if it has a class, it can assign specific styles to that class. Okay. So to the left of the text, add a div, which will be a small circle in blue. Okay, so let's just have that there. Awesome, that's cool. So the alignment is a bit off. So I say it needs to be aligned with the text. So hopefully we'll figure that out and just push it up. I love designing like this because I just think even when you're designing, often when you're designing in Figma, Framer, all these type of things, you are kind of still coming from a design brain, but you're using your hands and the elements on the canvas to put things together. So if you have to align it, you might, take the two elements and click the alignment icon and it'll align it, right? In like a Framer or Figma or something. But you're just doing the same thing here. You're just verbally saying it as opposed to doing it with your hands. You're more so just getting AI to do it. So it's kind of the same sort of translation technique going on. It's just a different format that might feel a little bit different to how you kind of design with your hands. But I just think it's so much faster, and it actually allows you to build something that's live and ready. Because if this was our site now, we could publish it, and now it's a live working site. We don't have to translate it into HTML or get a developer on board or anything. It just gives you absolute control over what you want to design. So okay, now I'm going to say next, add a hero title section with this text, and I'm actually again just going to inspect the styles. I'm going to say let's see what this transition looks like. Okay, let's just copy the whole thing. Let's see what that looks like. And the font size probably won't be exactly the same just yet. We might need to tweak that, but let's see. Let's see what it does. And then it seems like we've probably got another image here. So it probably does need to span it. Okay, image SVG. Let's inspect this. Get the SVG. Copy element. So the SVG, because you can't save them as an image necessarily, is basically because it's code. So what you can do is you can just open up like text edit. So I'll open up a new text edit. I'll paste this SVG and I'll save it as Merlin logo.svg. Use SVG. I'll go into my bucket. And then you can see it's already created it from that code. So I've got the image version now. And I'll save this here. So let's go back to our project. Okay, nice. Not perfect yet, but we'll get there. So cool. Now what I want is, so let's see. I want on the second line, the font larger, thinner. Let's just do that for now. And then we'll do the next bit, which is going to be adding the image. So let's set that up. Spacing looks good. Okay, nice. We're getting there. So I'm going to say font larger and a little thicker. It seems like the same font, similar at least. Again, you can always play around with fonts, go into Google Fonts and things like that and playing around with them. Okay, that's a bit too big now. So what I'm gonna say is, I'm gonna say make it smaller, make it a little smaller. How's the weight? Yeah, the weight is okay. And line height a little tighter. So you can see, like, even good looking design, like this already kind of looks good. Good looking design doesn't need to be anything special. Just understand the components and how to, like, communicate them and tie them together. Okay, letter spacing probably needs to be closer as well. Make letter spacing a touch closer. Spacing between each letter is quite wide. So fix that. Better. Okay, looking good. Nice. Now, before the word first, I want to add, let's grab our image, get the URL, and put it in there. So let's see what it does with that. So I probably now have to break it down into span. Span means like almost breaking each word down into separate sections, but it will figure that out by itself. I just had to give the instructions of what I want to see. So you can imagine it's even easier than designing otherwise, the way you otherwise would, because you can just tell it literally what you want and it will figure out how to do it. And you're seeing that here right now. So great. Make it a little smaller. Yeah, make it smaller. Let's just start there and see what it does. Because right now it's made it a bit too big. So how is this animation actually happening? Let's see. Okay, so everything's sort of bouncing in. It's almost like a blur on it as it comes in. Okay, let's see. Okay, that's better. See? Pretty much on point. Okay, we'll go with that. Font could be a little smaller, perhaps. Yeah. Okay, hero font a little smaller and a little thinner. Keeps going a bit too small, doesn't it? No, that's too much. Okay, we might have to stick with that. Add a teeny bit more weight. Okay, cool. That'll do for now. World's first AI chief of staff. Okay. Then below this, add using same font color as the top announcement. The same color, yeah. Just a little darker and a little bigger. It's not exactly rocket science right here, right? We're just literally telling you what we're seeing and telling you to make it. That's it. Okay, nice. So font needs to be smaller and we need to contain the width a bit more. So make font a touch smaller and reduce the max width. Now, good thing is it should automatically be responsive as well. So you'll see here, it's already responsive. We just add probably some more spacing, but generally the font's more responsive already, but we'll get it to fix the responsiveness later on. So cool. So that's a bit better. So we want font needs less weight and it's still too wide. It's a bit better. Good. Okay. So I'll say a little less wide. Let's just try and get it so that and calendar's on the next line. Good. Perfect. It's pretty spot on. Okay. Nice. All right. So let's just start with that. Let's start adding a little bit of animation just so we keep it as nice and fun for you guys as well. So I'm gonna say um some sort of blur. Okay, so take the top announcement text and on page load, have it. Let's see what's going on here. It's almost fading in. Have it appear word by word, but with a blur fade effect on the tail end. Let's see what it does. I don't know if that's going to explain it, but let's see. Nice. Not bad. Okay. Okay. How can we make it so that so while the text is fading in, it's also moving from right to left until it reaches its final position, almost feeling like a typewriter kind of effect. See what it makes of that. Also, the circle moves with it, doesn't it? Yeah. So let's see. It's a bit better. Okay. The last word remains blurred. This one here, we're trying to fix that so the last word doesn't remain blurred the whole time. There you go. Perfect. Okay, we're now going to say okay. We want this announcement and circle color to change and loop every 3 seconds. The next one will be, oops. Hey, why is it doing that? Why is Shift Tab not working? Hey, Shift Tab not working. Lord code. Create a new line. Shift Enter, Shift and Tab. Excuse me. Hold on, let me figure this out. Control Enter, Option Enter, Option Enter. Okay. Option Enter. That's weird. It's like you've never done it before. I was just using. Okay, who cares? So then we're gonna have green dot. Oh, so I'm too used to playing pressing shift and tab. Option enter. Okay, it's annoying. And average user saves. Red dot. Option enter. What else did they have? I saw that a yellow one, didn't they? Let's see. Red one. And then orange dot. Okay, cool. So I still want the fade to be better, but it's okay. I don't want to make the video too long. I'm just getting, at least we still get a nice animation, which kind of gives you a little bit of an idea. And then you guys can just kind of go in there and keep refining it more and more. But let's just get to the loop. So that section's done. Okay, so let's see if this works. Cool. It's nice. Good. Okay, happy with that. So let's keep that there for now. Now we're going to say, all right, let's come back to the rest of that stuff in a minute. I should lay out the rest of the page. We've got some animation done. So now, okay, now I want a CTA button that says start free trial. Button should be black with rounded corners. And we need an icon. So for icons, we're going to use tabular icons. I'm going to type in chevron. And we should get one that we can use like this. I'm going to copy this with icon tabular, this to the right. Okay, so let's get our button in there. Now, I wonder how they're doing this. Is this an image? They love putting images in these guys. I wouldn't do it like that necessarily, but it's okay. Is this SVG too? Yeah, okay. So upload that there, see where our button is. Yep, create my button. Okay, while it's doing that, so we got that image, which is going to be this one over here. Brilliant, we'll add that. And then we have use buff. Oh, this is a cool little cursor thing. What do you got going on here? It's like a dot that follows you around. What's that all about? So when does that kick in? Down here? Seems like a little bit of bug there, to be honest. It's kind of supposed to be down here, but then when you get up here, you get stuck. Okay. Anyway. Cool. Buttons there. Now what we want is, okay, make it fully rounded, and on hover, keep it the same black color. Okay, so button will be good. Start for a trial. We can maybe make it less bold if we need to. Make font less bold too. Let's just do the shape and the hover. So it's got like this sort of blue hover. We don't want that. There you go. It's better. Okay, so what's it doing now? We're seeing just this start free trial almost. Let's see if we can explain, even though there probably will be a technical word to explain that animation, I'm just going to see if we can do it in plain text. So we're going to say on button hover, I want the effect where the text goes up and then the same version of the text appears from below, and on hover out, it reverses back. So again, it will figure out what to do there. It should, I know how to do it in like a design thing, but sliding text on a hover. Okay, let's see what it does. See if we can figure that out. Let's see if it's smart enough for us to just explain it in a dumb way and get it done. So most of the stuff as you're seeing is just me explaining things. There you go. That's cool. It probably needs to clip it now. So wait for it. It's going to clip it into a box. And then you should hide the bottom one. So let's see if it does that. Okay, so I'm going to say, that's good, but we shouldn't see both the texts at the same time. Okay, better. See there, with that thing, that's all good. We just start. Okay, perfect. The text just needs to be center aligned. Hopefully you understand what's that means. I should probably make it a bit more clear. That needs to be vertically center aligned, but let's see if he understands that. We just want the text to be, there we go, perfect. Yay, great. So, hello, Mr. Merlin. Nice to meet you. Hello, Mr. Copycat. Nice to meet you too. There we go. So we've got a nice little button there. Oh, awesome. Now I want to say is, place this image above the button. Okay, and then let's get that free trial text in there. Nice. Okay, so how they've done it is it's kind of bigger and more absolute. Okay, so so you can see here that it's actually just placing it. Like you can see here, if I just select, this is like it's basically the image here, and then below the image, I put the button. But what you can see here is they've actually got is slightly overlapping, right? So it means that the button needs to be absolute, right? So we're gonna say you don't have to know that terminology, but here's what I'm gonna explain. I'm gonna say make the image larger, then make the button position absolute, so it's on top of the image, but towards the bottom of it. Okay, so we're just gonna say it like that, and it will figure out, basically, when I say position absolute, just means, again, it allows us to stack elements on top of each other. So that should get us closer to the effect that we want, and then maybe it should require a little bit of tweaking on size. So let's see how it feels. Better. Button label is now on 2 lines. So it looks weird. So let it fix the button. And then maybe the button needs to be a tiny bit lower then, doesn't it? Great. Okay. Nice. Brilliant. So now we've got nice little vibe going on there. Okay, so now finally, we're just going to have used by professionals at, for these images, what I'll do is, now that I've shown you guys how to use, how they're doing this. Inspect. They've got one image here. Okay, I want to say, now leave some space below this, then add a row that says used by professionals at, in darker font, lighter weight and smaller, with a gray divider either side of it. Divider will be short in width, suppose. But let me just see how they're doing these images. Oh, so they've got some SVG logos, and then some are okay. So for the sake of actually no, I won't do it properly. So what I'm gonna do is they got their logo there. Let's just take the Salesforce logo here, SVG, copy element. Let's go Salesforce.svg, SVG, and then what they're using here. This is Harvard SVG as well. Indeed. Copy element. Harvard.svg. What else do we have? Okay, that's what our image is. That's the Notion. This is SVG as well. So let's just grab this. Okie dokes. The logos, let's just drop them in here. Harvard, HubSpot, McKinsey, Notion, Salesforce. Bam. Okay, cool. So done a little section there, which is great. What we're going to ask it to do is make font smaller and more space above this section. Nice. Can still be smaller. Font can be smaller and make it black. Does it need more space? Space is okay. Okay, and then we're going to take all our logos. So we're going to do Notion. Okay, now add these logos in a single row below in this order. Notion. What do we have? Notion, Salesforce, Harvard. Salesforce, Harvard. Was it HubSpot? HubSpot, McKinsey. HubSpot and McKinsey. Okay, so we'll probably need to gray them out because these are all grayed out, but I think the logos aren't all grayed out. So let's see if it needs to add some sort of grayscale to it. As this is an SVG, which means that you actually control all the components of it. So this is actually code. So the logo is basically just like a vector. It's just like a series of coordinates, effectively. But you can control color. So you can see the field says current color, but you can actually control the color to be whatever we want it to. So what I'm going to say is I actually like this color better, to be honest. So let's see. So which one do we need to make smaller? Let's say make them all a touch smaller, except Salesforce. I'm trying to do it by eye at the moment, and let's just see what we get. And then we tighten the gap a little bit here. Okay, that's nice. Now reduce the space between the title and the logos row. Okay, so that will be our hero section done, basically, and then we can move over to the structure of this. But let's first of all just make sure we're happy with the animations on here as well. And that'd be a cool thing to get done because we can see we've done the top one now. I really want to get into the juice of how they're doing this, especially the gradient. So a cool thing to use is CodePen as well. So CodePen, is it CodePen IO? Where am I? Yeah. CodePen allows you to basically search for different text and effects, or just effects in general, anything basically in code. You could just, there's a bunch of stuff. You can just say like search pens. It's just a bunch of code base that people have written for different components and things. Let me log in. And you can just basically copy whatever people have got on there. So, all right. So, okay, this is nice. So let's see if we can. So before I do the actual bouncing in thing, I just want to see if we can just get that gradient sort of go across. So I'm going to type in gradient text animation clipped. Let's see what comes up. Basically, we just want a gradient to go on inside. Let's see if we can find a reference. Gradient in. So this is close to it. Let's see that. What's this? Let's check this as well. So, okay, so there's a gradient going on there, but we kind of want it to like almost, yeah, this is a bit closer. We almost want it to like scan it. Yeah, a bit like this. Because all you can do is you can give a reference point to Claude to copy a little bit. Here you go. No. What's this one? Okay. So here's what we're going to do. Let's see if you can just do it for us. Let's try and explain it first of all normally. So what we've got here, we've got blue, red, green. Okay, so I want you to take the colors of each of the dots in the circle dots in the announcement. Then I want you to create a gradient with these that moves across the AI chief of staff text. The text itself should remain black, and this gradient should basically whoosh across it end to end. And should happen once on page load. Okay, let's see if we can do that. Just give them that instruction, because sometimes we can just figure out. And this is a nice part of working like this is how you can just iterate, which I love doing. Like when I'm designing, just like tweaking, seeing something, like throwing an idea out there, not having it, having to worry about it being perfect, on the first go, but just getting it to, try something, and then we'll see. Same thing we do with these animations. And if you see it, like you might be happy with it. Like I actually think this is fine. Like if I was creating something, it's okay if it doesn't do exactly this type of like right to left motion. And if you spend time on it, you can get it to do that, of course. But that's like sufficient for me. And I would probably even use that, and it's good to know, because even something I'm learning here is that, you can do a nice animation with the blur effect. That's really cool. I could add that to my project. So I like that, the fact that it even does that. So let's see if we got that gradient here now. It's still writing it, I think. We just want to see that kind of, there you go. Okay, nice. We're getting there. Cool. Okay. So we want to go left to right first of all, and the colors we might want to tweak then. I'd wonder how we get there. I'm gonna try something sneaky here. Let's see. Can I refresh the page at the same time? Ah, so I really want to pick out the specific colors. What I would do in that case, to be cheeky, is I'll probably use QuickTime Player, File, New Screen Recording, and then let's move this other way. Okay, it's fine. Just put it over here. And let's just say record. And now let me refresh. Okay, and then stop. And now I've got a video that I can look at. Just these all the colors. I'm gonna pause it there, screenshot these, close this. I'm gonna go into Figma, just paste. Hey, Figma, I was probably on my desktop. Okay. So let's just see if it first did the animation. Oops, that was mine for a minute. Okay, cool. Animation should go left to right and only happen once. So the end state is the black original text. Option, enter. Make the colors. So now I'm going to create a little div here, and I'm actually just going to pick the colors. So it's kind of like pink. This is me being very specific about it because I'm literally trying to emulate it and show you guys different techniques that you can use to get like a style that you like to actually work for you using AI. So the yellow in. You can say something like just do multicolored or something like that and get to figure it out. Let's just do that. Okay, see if we can make the colors close to what we want. So Figma picking out colors and stuff is quite cool like that too. So you can just slow things down, screen record, look at the animation. So let's see what it does now. Okay, so colors a bit better. Okay, so the gradient needs to come in from the left and go out to the right. So just make sure it's clear on that. So what's this doing now in terms of animation? So this text is just appearing basically as like almost, but it's white first. Because it's very interesting the way I've done that. Let's see. Look how I was doing it. Oh my God. The text isn't clipped inside the black text. This kind of looks nice just like that anyway. What's it doing? Not sure what you've done. It was fine before. Now it's like another text layer moving on top of the current text layer instead of a gradient just sweeping through. Yeah, it's getting a bit confused. So it's okay. See, these things happen and we just debug it. I feel like the video might get a bit too long if we're trying to do sort of the menu and everything as well. Let's see the menu. I do want to show you guys that though, because it's quite nice. Maybe we'll do the menu, but not so, don't have to worry so much about this specific section here. But maybe we should add some font. Okay, let's see. If you guys want to watch it, then I'm happy. All right. Okay. So something's gone on with the gradient. Better, but the original text isn't black. It's just transparent. I wonder where it got stuck. Okay, better. We're getting there. Okay. Now make the animation go in the other direction. In the opposite direction. Also, it's considering it left to right. Why? I don't know why I was thinking that. Why is it actually going right to left? But if I'm saying opposite, then hopefully we'll just do it the other way. Yeah, cool. Okay, that's fine. All right, we're there. Nice. Okay, so now the world's first. Okay. Now take the first line and have these individually appear with a blurred effect. But the blurred effect and the let's see. How would you explain it? Yeah, and the individual words coming in from slightly top into position on reveal, one word at a time on page load. Okay, let's start there. See what it does with that? See, because this is kind of like this kind of worm effect in the way it bounces in and just sits there. But let's see if we can get it. Kind of is it though? Yeah, they are. Yeah, it is. Everything's individually coming in and sitting down. Let's see if we can get something close to that. Just creating the animation for us. Nice. That's beautiful, man. Look at that. Guys, come on. Making history here. Well, these guys created history, didn't they? We can speed it up if you need to, so I can tell I make it faster. But I quite like this. It's quite nice. The world's first. Oh, man. See, this is what's so cool about this is because like I would so like use this style. Like, I kind of want to use this style somewhere now. It's like it feels so AI-fied, you know, like what a cool little take. Look at this. Oh, almost like glass blurred in. It's beautiful. I love that. Oh man. Okay. Now this is the bottom text. So so let's see, does the animation happen on the page load? Hey, where did animation go? Okay, make the gradient sweep on AI chief of staff happen immediately on page load. Nice. It appears that the gradient animation is happening twice. Okay, so it is better. It just feels like it's happening twice. Here, on that one, it's just one sweep. Let's see what is happening twice. Is it happening twice? And then that will leave us with just sort of this bottom piece here of how the menu comes in, which is quite nice, which should be pretty straightforward to do. We'll create that sort of like this little blur effect at the bottom as well that we're seeing, this kind of background blur, which is literally called a background blur. So we'll create that as well. So, okay, let's see. Okay, it still seems to be doing it twice. It's okay. We won't worry about it too much. Okay, so let's see. Can we make slow down the animation? Universe. Okay, it thinks it's doing it once, but it's not. It's okay. I don't mind it. So let's just slow down the animation. Just a bit more elegant, and then we'll reveal. So we'll see if we can almost reveal the text as we go. So I feel like there's a reveal almost going on here, like something happening there, which is really cool. Oh, that's nice. Okay, so let me see. Can we have that line of text? Hey, chief of staff, reveal on page load. So essentially cropped from the right side, then it reveals the text. Keep the gradient as is. See if we can have it do that. Let's see if we can get it just to reveal so it shows that, because here it's loading the black text straight away, but here it kind of comes in with it, which should look quite nice. This is cool. Like, I'm really inspired by just this look itself, and then to be able to do it, like it just gives me like a boost of confidence because I'm like, this is really cool to be able to. What a nice way to display a page. Even if you wanted to, like you can't obviously copy this exactly as it is, but you could use elements like this on different sites. Okay, no, it's going all wrong there. You could do that, but let me see. Can we? Okay. I want the gradient animation to happen right away though, even while the text is revealing. It seems to wait for the text to stop. And then maybe we can speed it up. Let's see what that looks like. Odd. So there's another bit of text that's going on there. Because that's probably why, because maybe it needs it for some reason. Okay, undo that. You could just maybe, yeah, we won't worry about it too much. We could just, you can play around with this yourselves if you guys want to make it perfect. Just want to show you an example of me just at least implementing a gradient inside text, which we didn't need to use CodePen for. We actually just like spoke to it, right? And just told it what to do and it did it, which is really cool. All right, so let's see. Okay, that's not bad. Okay, just make the text reveal faster. We could even make it have like that same type of blur effect if we wanted to as well, I suppose, but we won't. We'll just make it faster. That's not too bad. Okay, that's the closest I think we're gonna get it just because of time's sake, but at least we can, you know, you can toy and play with it a little bit more if you want to, but cool. We got that. Now let's quickly do this. So I'm gonna say, now add another section below the hero. We'll just keep it as a white section for now. We'll add content in a bit. Okay, the reason I'm doing that is because I just want to scroll here so we can see if we can add the menu and have it do this sort of scroll and display like that on scroll. So let's see if we can just at least give us some room here so we can test a scroll. There we go, nice. Okay, now let's design the menu. So I'm going to say, now let's make a nav menu. I want you to create a div at the bottom of the page. It will be a nav that moves with this page on scroll. We need some outer padding to give it, not outer padding, we need some, outer padding to give it space from the bottom. It should be a rounded rectangle. In black. Just set up that div for me. Okay, let's just set up the skeleton right now because I just want to see, we might to adjust the width and everything as we go as well. Let's just see if we can set it up just to have it kind of the way we want it to. And then we'll refine it and then we'll do the animation again at the end. So we'll just do these tiny sort of UI incremental elements right now. And then we'll add, there we go, we can see it there, cool. So I'm gonna say inside here, add links for pricing and manifesto. Okay, image. So another SVG here. Copy element is a white one. So we're going to go here. I'm going to say white Merlin dot SVG. Okay, nice. Getting there. So we're going to say On left side, add the logo. So let's do that. So we need to make it, we'll adjust the styling now. So we'll just get it to set everything up. So we've got the components there. So what I'm doing right now is I'm adding the elements, and then we'll do the tweaking and refining to make it, perfect to what we want. Okay, good. So reduce left spacing so logo is closer to the edge. So what are we looking at size-wise? So we're looking at something smaller, aren't we? So how small? Is it about smaller than that? It's about right. So I think we just need to reduce this top and bottom padding a little bit. So cool. So I'm going to say reduce padding in the nav. So padding is basically this space around it, right? So all this space around it is padding. So we want to just reduce that to make it more compact, and then we'll adjust the radius so a radius matches a radius of the logo. So it should reduce. If it reduces the padding, it should make it a bit more compact. There, nice. Okay, reduce radius. So you should be able to sort of just start see sites now and break them down into components, and then understand how to, take something you're seeing and then basically say, oh, that's a div that's got text inside it. Oh, it's got a logo inside it. It won't look so overwhelming now. Like, how do I create this design? You'll actually see it in a series of components, and then the flair you add to it will basically be your taste, right? So I'm going to say reduce padding a little more. Just want it to be nice and clean and flush. Because you can see here, they've got it nice and tight around here. Better. Let me say a little more. And reduce radius more. So you can start to give it like multiple instructions if you want, like also make font smaller wherever you can. Sometimes I do that, and I just kind of give it a series of things to do at once. So each prompt doesn't have to be like that incremental, but that just depends on your own sort of like, vibe you're in. I'm just trying to show you guys sort of, how I'm working right now. But it's a little bit more radius than that. So what we're going to do is we're going to say, let's see. Yeah, see, they haven't done it flush. Like their corners should be matching their corners a bit better, but that's okay. Let's see if we can use left padding. Oh, the top and everything seems a bit better now. It's just this spacing just seems a bit off. Nice. Okay, we'll run with that. Now we're gonna say make links gray text and smaller and lighter weight. How's the spacing? Spacing isn't too bad. Then make the width of the bar wider, and on the right side add a link for, what was it, login? For login. Okay, let's see if we can get that. So try and make the bar wider. And then want to have a bit of a background blur, which we'll do, which hopefully we can see a little bit if we added something below it. Nice. Look at that. Beautiful. Okay, very close now. We're very close. Okay, so we're seeing it more like, okay, so now it's got that animation going on inside it. So I'm going to say reduce spacing between logo and the links. Then apply the same animation to the link text as we have on the start free trial CTA label. Okay, so we'll see if we can get a similar hover effect, and then we'll add that sign up link to the right, which you go here. We probably do need to add a little bit more height to the bar. So I think we could probably just do that by making the logo a bit bigger, because their logo is a little bit bigger there, and that should probably just give us a little bit more of the height, because it would naturally expand it out without losing that padding that we've introduced. So let's see if we can do the animation, everyone. Nice. Boom. Gorgeous. Nice. Okay. Increase size of logo a touch. So that should give us a little bit more height, which is what we're looking for. This is so nice. Whoever designed this, by the way, like these guys, did a really clean job, man. It's beautiful. I really like how it looks. But I wonder, like, did they use Framer, Figma? Like, how long did they spend designing it? I would actually like to ask them. Maybe we can find a way to get in touch with these people and ask them how long they took to actually build it. Okay, that's pretty spot on now, right? Pretty spot on. We just need to sign up. So next to login, add a white button for sign up. Yeah, with dark gray text. The sign up animation just has a blue color on hover. Let's see if we can get this in one shot. If it, yeah, okay, not bad. Radius is a bit off. Okay, so how do we get this? Okay, let me think about this, because we're going to break the structure. Okay, let's see. Use right side padding. Then, is there space? Where's the space coming from? Let's see. Increase height of the button. Let's just see what that looks like. If it automatically just adjusts that. We reduce the space. We want to fill out a little bit here. Let's see if you can just figure that out. Yeah. Okay, better. Cool. I think we need to reduce the spacing on the left and right. So reduce inner padding on button. Left, right. Is it a bit bolder than that? Yeah. Make font a little bolder. And on hover, make it light blue text. Okay, that should set us up nicely to then just add the background and some animation. So this animation is cool. So what it does is it kind of comes in from bottom. Okay. Okay, cool. It's pretty identical then to what we got here. Maybe fonts could be a touch smaller, but it's okay. Make link fonts, including button label, a touch smaller. Then make the BG of the button have some opacity and background blur. And that will give us that blur effect that we're seeing here. See behind it, we see the sort of blur effect. So let's see if we can just do that. So font smaller, background blur, which will sort of gray this out a little bit. It's gonna be hard to see the background blur because we don't have any elements behind it. But if we add an image here, we can maybe see it a bit better. So let it adjust there. I'm wondering how we can test it. Maybe if I scroll enough like this, we would see it. Just show you guys the effect. Nice. Probably a bit too small these, but it's okay. We always adjust ourselves if we need to. Cool. Pretty spot on. Love these menus as well, man. Just tiniest little details in the UX. You just make like a profound difference to like how a design turns out. So okay, did it add that sort of background blur? Let's see. Probably has a little bit. It's hard to tell. Okay, let's not worry about the background blur too much right now. Let's just do on scroll. So okay, I'm gonna say now we don't want the nav to be visible on page load, only appear as we start scrolling. How far did it scroll? Is it immediately? Yeah, as we start scrolling. It should appear from the bottom and then sit in a place. Should also expand out from the center. Yeah, let's just see what that looks like. Nice. Look at that. See how simple it was just to get it to, you could probably speed it up because that's basically what it's doing, but I probably need to be a bit faster. So I can just say speed it up. That's really nice. Look at that. Great. See, there we go, guys. Now, the only bit we didn't do, because this is already like sort of an hour and a half video, I don't want to bore you lot for, you know, another half an hour or an hour, but we'll maybe in a separate video, we'll break down into more design components as well. But this is a good example of literally just take an example of a site we've seen that we like and break into components. Obviously, I'm explaining it, so we're taking a little bit more time, but really probably within about 45 minutes or an hour, you can end up having something like this for yourself. You know, all the assets stored inside of your Supabase storage system, you know, beautiful animations, you know, lovely menus, you know, lovely sort of link hovers. And more so, what I want you to just get from this is how to actually, you know, talk to the AI and how to get it to create you the type of assets that you want. So I hope you guys found that valuable. And let me know in the comments if you did enjoy this. So I kind of have a good idea of whether I should do more videos like this. Do you want to see more design stuff? Do you want to see me do videos this long during design? Do you want shorter videos around design? Do you want me to break down specific components? Let me know. Because as much as I can bring from my world and my experience and how I'm using AI to your world, you know, we can overcome this sort of, you know, AI slop era that we're in and create beautiful interfaces like this. So I hope you enjoy this. Please like, please subscribe, please drop a comment. And if you haven't already joined the 5-day sprint, go to 5daysprint.com and hop in and you can set up projects like this within a few minutes. See you soon.
Clap, 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 we're done just right. 5-day sprint took us to new heights. Make it big.